Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Kwikset. This is their part number 139. By the time of making this video, this is certainly a discontinued item, but this video is to serve as historical evidence as to what it was. And at the time of making this video, we do have this material on the shelf, so it would be helpful as a sales tool to have a video as well. So what you're going to get with this is a hole saw, a paddle bit, spade bit, butterfly bit, and then an arbor with a drill bit. The packaging on the back is the installation instructions. So the 139 is the much smaller, younger brother, I suppose, to the Kwikset 138, which is an entire lock installation kit, also discontinued, which we also at this time have inventory of. So let's take a closer look at the 139. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. We're going to go over the installation instructions, which are worthwhile doing because there's a couple of steps that may not have occurred to you in terms of actually the steps and procedure by which they go about doing this. So let's take this material out of its packaging carefully and just show a quick assembly process, what it looks like when you have it put together. Okay, so what we have here is the arbor, and you will unthread the arbor. The hole saw itself is going to go down onto this. This is what we would call a double D prep right here, a double D prep in the back here. You don't have the posts that would in this arbor, so you won't be utilizing these two small holes here at all. The drill bit goes down in first. Sorry, the opposite end of the drill bit goes down in first. At that point, you'll install the shim. That's there. And then the lock washer will go down. Yeah, we're going to put the washer. Yeah, that's looking good right there. I wouldn't say that this item fits together quite perfectly. You need to have the spacer on the back side of the hole saw, and it seems to have a little bit of a curve to it, or a concave and a convex face. This nut goes down, and basically it's just meant to keep the arbor inside of the hole saw. You know, I would just hand tighten it and leave it at that. So now you've got an assembled tool. You're going to have a 1/4 inch shank there for the arbor. That drill bit is probably 1/4 inch would be my guess. Yeah, 1/4 inch is the diameter of that drill bit. You'll also get the paddle bit, spade bit, butterfly bit. Okay, this is going to be for the edge of the door. So very simple, straightforward. The approach, chuck's going to go on here. You're going to drill a hole. But what you actually end up doing is you're going to need to mark the hole. You'll need to mark not only the face of the door at your back set, 2 3/8. Well, 2 inch. It could be 2 inch. I can think of a lock manufacturer who has 2 inch. It could also be 2 3/8, 2 3/4, 3 3/4, 5 inch. I just helped a client with a 9.5 inch back set. And in essence, what you're going to end up doing is drilling a hole according to the installation instructions to pilot or get a pilot hole drilled so that the pilot bit can start drilling through. And what's interesting about this is you're obviously only going to drill part of the way through. The okay, so this is about 1 inch deep. Okay, what we're dealing with in here. A little bit heavy on that, so closer to maybe 1.25 inches. What'll end up happening is you won't be able to drill all the way in. You'll probably get about 7/8 or so deep, something in that range. The point being is you'll drill all the way to the depth that you can through the face of the door. When you go to the other side, by the time you've basically gotten as far deep as you can, you'll then free that core from the door, at which point you should be able to pull that off your tool, is how that's going to work. It would be handy to have a little bit larger than average power drill, 3/8 for sure, a 1/2 inch would be better. You're doing a lot of work cutting, here's the bottom line. The paddle bit, very simple and straightforward. This will be used to not only drill the edge of the door, that's obvious, but you can usually use that to drill the jamb as well. So Kwikset's definitely thought about the steps of their installation instructions. So let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at all the supporting information. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, let's take a look at this bit that we have. We've got some photographs that are here. All right, there's the packaging. No big deal. We've already taken a look at this. Close-up of the tools that are inside the back side. Model 139. Now those installation instructions. This is a scan, but let's go over it. Maybe used for any brand using 2 1/8 inch diameter and 1 inch diameter holes, which means any lock that requires a 2 1/8 here and a 1 inch here, this is good, which is most locks. Not all, but it's most. You could have a requirement of a 7/8 or a 15/16 hole here. You could have a requirement of a 2 1/8, an inch and a half, or an inch and 5/8, or an inch and 7/8 hole here, depending on what lock it is. But 2 1/8 is the most common. Metric conversion, should that be something that is helpful for you? 2,500 RPM. I don't know any way to really gauge the rotation speed. You'd have to see what your drill is capable of producing. I don't give that much thought myself when I'm drilling a hole for a lock. Drilling instructions. In addition to the items packed herein, you will need your electric drill, a screwdriver, a wood chisel, hammer, and a 3/16 drill bit. Using the template supplied with your lock, set, or deadbolt, locate and mark center of holes to be drilled. Okay, so that's one thing that and just for reference, the Kwikset 138 does for you. This is the 138 image here. The whole purpose of this tool is to prep doors primarily, but help you with frames as well. But this little angle tool here that comes with the kit, which is, yeah, this AV supply. I was able to find a photo of it. This is a backset finder. It's that small little angle that allows you to place it on the edge of the door. And here's the back of the tool, and it's a really handy tool. I've prepped thousands of doors just with one of these, and what it allows you to do very simply is you mark the center line, the vertical center line of the door. You put a mark on the edge of the door. Okay, then what you'll do is you want to make a faint pencil line on the style of the door and line that up in the center here. Be sure to mark the center of the proper door thickness. I personally would suggest putting a small piece of masking tape over the holes that you don't need. Okay, 1 3/4 right here. You'll then be able to transfer that to the face of the door as well. You don't need to mark the face of the door, or you can do it backwards if you want. I mark the edge of the door, and the reason I do that is just because I find it easier. Then you can mark your hole, 2 3/8, 2 3/4, masking tape off the hole that you don't use. Really handy tool for doing all of that. Okay, using the template supplied, or you have one, with your lock set or deadbolt, locate and mark center of holes to be drilled, which is the 2 1/8 and the 1 inch. 2. Drill 3/16 diameter pilot holes through the door as marked for the 2 1/8 inch diameter hole, and 1 3/4 deep in the edge as marked for the 1 inch hole. So what they're saying is you need to get a 3/16 hole through the door. That backset finder tool, you end up flipping over and using it on the opposite side of the door. And again, just flipping the tool over allows you to get it to the other side of the door. It would be like, let's take a look here. What would it be like? Well, you're going to take this and you're just going to flip it over. Now use the other side. You've got the other holes here. And that will allow you to mark the door very well. All right. Now let's take a look at the next step of what we're dealing with. So I would drill partial on each face of the door, and then in the edge of the door, drill that, 1 3/4 deep. It's 2 inch is fine. Whatever. I never would pre-drill the hole in the edge of the door. I would just use my paddle bit and drill down through. But that's what they're saying here to do. Step 3, using the 2 1/8 inch diameter hole saw in the pilot hole of the door face, cut through from one side as far as you can, and then cut through the other side. Be careful to drill at right angles to the door face. It's really hard with a hole saw to drill crooked, because as soon as the hole saw hits the face of the door, you can tell whether or not you're making contact around the circumference of the tool. So it's difficult to drill crooked holes. You can drill them off center, and you have to be very mindful of that. Actually, let's talk about that for a moment. One really valuable thing to know about this tool is that it actually is at a small amount of a degree, so to speak. So when you have a beveled edge door, it's adjusting, for as much as you can use the term adjusting, the location of the hole based on the low side and the high side of the door, because you do want to be right on the money in terms of where your reference point is from one side of the door to the other. And what I'm meaning by that, you can use part of my drawing here. So backset is the dimension from the edge of the door to the hole, but backset is defined from the center of the thickness. This door is beveled. Okay, so 2 3/4 here and 2 3/4 here are definitely in different locations. That tool helps you account for that, because backset again is measured here back. That would be right about there. That's the point of all of that. Step 4, insert 3/16 diameter drill in pilot hole previously drilled in door edge. Okay, so that's why they want you to drill it 1 3/4 deep, because they want you to get the hole drilled deep enough so that you can insert the 3/16 bit in the hole that you've drilled in the edge of the door, stick your finger in the hole, and then push the drill bit against the jamb, and that will mark the location of where your strike needs to start. Once you've closed the door, obviously. Close door again, stop, and tap drill bit to mark center of strike hole and door jamb. Step 5, using the 1 inch spade bit in the pilot hole previously drilled, drill latch hole and edge of door. Being careful to keep drill horizontal and parallel to the door face. Yeah, you can drill a paddle bit crooked. You just want to be mindful that you're drilling it straight. Luckily, you don't have much to drill through there. Step 6, drill the 1 inch hole 5/8 deep for lock sets. Okay, this is the frame now. If you're in the jamb where you've marked the hole, drill a 5/8 deep hole if you're doing a latch bolt, and drill an 1.1/8 deep hole if you're doing a deadbolt. Step 7, insert latch into the hole in door edge by keeping it parallel to the face of the door. Mark, outline, remove the latch with a hammer and chisel. Clear that entire area out. I would recommend, if you do a lot of these, actually we have it here, this tool. Lock face mortiser, you put this on the edge of your door, you've got it set for whatever the width, let's say 2 1/4 tall by 1 inch wide, and then you use a router. Rather than a hammer and chisel, consider a router. Much cleaner, faster, professional looking prep. Hammer and chisel, if you're doing 1 or 2 of these, fine. Chisel that out. Install the latch per lock set or deadlock. Installation instructions. Deadlock illustrated for lock set. See instructions packaged with the lock. Step 10. Now mark, trace, hammer and chisel the prep in the frame. then install your lock, and you're done at that point. All right, Kwikset 138. They're currently in stock if you need the entire kit. If you are a locksmith, if you're someone who encounters the need to install deadbolts, let's say, onto an opening where a client wants to add it, this may be a investment worthwhile for you. Many handyman type companies, many locksmith type companies, they have this tool, and they, quite frankly, they swear by it. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, in conclusion, if you have any questions on the Kwikset 139 lock installation kit or any other Kwikset product, please feel free to reach out to us. It is a bit of a shame that Kwikset has discontinued the manufacturer of these lock installation tools, especially the 138. They are not easy to come by anymore, that's for sure. The year's 2023, and they've been discontinued for a couple of years now. Not that there are not companies that don't make them. There are others that do, and I'll mention them because Kwikset's completely out of the game, so to speak. And that would be Major Manufacturing. We have their entire catalog in our site, and they have dozens of pages worth of locksmithing tools that you would very likely want to consider. Someone who's going to buy this 139, they are doing 1 or 2 locks and that's it. And it's because this tooling is just high-speed steel. It's not going to suffer a tremendous amount of volume. If you are doing a job where you need to do a handful of them, you might want to order more than one of these. They're relatively inexpensive. You're going to have to buy all the tools anyway. You'll have to buy the hole saw, the arbor, the paddle bit, and by the time you're done, you've exceeded $20. That's to be sure. So, if you have any questions on this 139 or any other Kwikset product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.